Hi folks, this is going to be a short one. Thanks for taking time to check out my content. So I don't waste your time, I'll get right into this. All the clips in this were used under fair use for educational purposes. And I just want to highlight a figure before I get started, right? Uh, with the current Earth calculator, it's supposed to be 8 inches per mile squared based on a globe almost 25,000 miles in circumference. Okay. And so you can do the math on it. Over 200 feet, you'd expect to see about a third of an inch of curvature. All right. And so just keep that in mind as you watch this. And I hope you enjoy the point being made. And I feel that the example I'm about to give for all my thinking level stationary plane aware people, I think that we can break this down into practical demonstrations and put this globe deception to bed once and for all. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll give you a few parting thoughts at the end there. So remember, a third of an inch over 200 feet.
Today, a modern float glass line produces an average of several hundred tons of glass each day. It runs 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, for over 15 years. There are about 450 float glass lines around the world. Together, they produce more than 1 million tons of float glass worldwide every year. Until the 1960s, flat glass was produced using the sheet and plate glass manufacturing process. This method was highly labor-intensive. Invented by Sir Alistair Pilkington, the float glass manufacturing process quickly became the universal method for producing high-quality flat glass. Today, float glass manufacturing supplies glass to a variety of different markets, including automotive, architectural, solar panel, and many other technical applications. Glassmaking uses some of the Earth's most abundant raw materials. The primary ingredient is sand, accounting for 60% of what is called the batch. Lime and dolomite are added to assist the weathering properties of the finished glass, while soda and sulfate lower the temperature at which sand will melt. But glass itself is also an important ingredient. Broken glass, called cullet, is recovered from the manufacturing process and then crushed before being added to the batch. This further accelerates the melting process and reduces the amount of energy required for melting by up to 1/5. All raw materials are rigorously checked to ensure the purity of the batch. It is then fed automatically into the filling end of a furnace. Natural gas, burned in preheated combustion air, then heats the batch up to 2,800 degrees Fahrenheit. Once heated, the batch materials melt and change from a semi-molten state to molten glass. Melting, refining, and homogenizing take place within separate zones of the furnace. Processes within the furnaces are managed from the control room to ensure that the glass is homogeneous and free of bubbles. Inside the furnace, heat is applied from alternate sides in 15-minute cycles. This assists fuel efficiency by ensuring that combustion takes place in the presence of preheated air. This continuous melting process can last as long as 50 hours. Through a narrow canal where it passes to the heart of the process, the tin bath.
Okay, folks, this is the important part here. Okay, we know the nature of fluids is to take the shape of the container, and once contained, it'll seek and find its own level with the surface being completely flat. Now, this has been disputed. They've even tried to redefine the word level as a tangent perpendicular to the center of the earth, which is just absurd. Okay, level is level, flat is flat. All right, so keep that in mind.
Molten glass enters the tin bath and floats on top of the more dense molten tin, like oil floating on water. Here, the glass spreads out, following the perfect flatness of the tin.
The perfect flatness of the tin. Look at that tin bath. Look how long that is. That's well over 200 feet. That was the point of making it ridiculously small. All right, pay attention to this.
so that the upper and lower surfaces of the glass remain absolutely flat and parallel with perfect spectral properties. The glass is made thicker by confining its initial outward spread over the tin. To make thinner glass, the top rollers controlling the width of the glass are sped up to produce a gentle stretching action. A controlled atmosphere of hydrogen and nitrogen within the bath prevents the tin from oxidizing. When it emerges from the tin bath, the glass is sufficiently hard so as not to be marked by the conveyor rollers. The float glass manufacturing process.
Okay, I'm going to stop and go to another clip here so I can show you a couple more examples and then a couple final thoughts. Okay, so let's hear that from another manufacturer.
At which it melts. Once melted, glass leaves the conditioning zone at a temperature of about 1900 degrees Fahrenheit through a narrow canal where it flows onto a bath of molten tin, which has a higher density than molten glass. The glass, now known as the ribbon, spreads out onto the flatness of the tin, leaving the upper and lower surfaces of the glass perfectly flat and parallel.
Perfectly flat and parallel. All right, now how is this glass checked? Hold on one second. Okay, so the glass goes out onto a bed where it's slowly cooled down, and then it goes through an annealing layer where it is gently brought down to temperature so it doesn't crack, okay? And this is the quality control measure after it's gone through that annealing layer.
A state-of-the-art laser detection system then checks every square centimeter for the slightest imperfections.
So there you have it, folks. Every square centimeter of the glass is checked for imperfections, and that would include a thickness check. All right, so it's perfectly flat. I think that we can figure out a way to test this using other substances, but using this method. But clearly, over the distance of hundreds of feet, there is zero curvature. And the nature of a sphere is to curve equally in all directions. So not only is the water level in the lakes, ponds, and even the oceans, the terra firma is demonstrably level as well, regardless of the topography. And that's all I have. I know people far smarter than me will be able to take this and run with it. I wish you a great day.